Hello, everybody. Kenyatta Turner here. Welcome to my webinar, How to Leverage Your Behavioral Superpowers to Limit or to Crush Your Limiting Beliefs. I am so excited that you are here as everyone is coming on in, come in, grab a seat. Make sure you have some water. Water is very important. Especially if you're the speaker, but it's important to stay hydrated. So make sure you're staying hydrated. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. Make sure that you've got all your other windows shut down because you can easily get distracted. Turn your phone off, hit the do not disturb, all the different things that you can give full attention to this webinar. We are going to have some fun. And I'm going to tell you as we go through this, I'm an outgoing, fast-paced influencer. I talk fast. So I'm warning you right now, make sure you listen fast, okay? And take notes. Now, this is being recorded. May get a copy of the replay. You may not. Depends how good you are. No, but I see some of you coming in right now. And here, don't be afraid to go into the chat and tell me your name. Tell me where you're here from. Tell me what's going on. This is going to be as interactive as possible. I know it's a monologue because I'm just speaking to you, but I know you're out there. So I know sometimes people can be shy too about chatting. So feel free to use the chat and I might ask you some questions. This is class participation and that's how you'll be able to respond. So my name is Kenyatta Turner. I'm the CEO and founder of Freedom Empire Consulting, where I coach, influence, and protect. Throughout my presentation, you'll get to learn a little bit more about me, but I just want to tell you I'm excited about this topic, leveraging your behavioral superpowers in order to release and crush your limiting beliefs. Why is that important? Is because we all have them. We all have the things that we tell ourselves that we can or can't do, that we will or won't do, and we put the governors on ourselves. And I'm going to share with you how the knowledge of your behavioral superpowers and also having a plan is part of the way that you can get past the concept of having limiting beliefs. It comes a lot from self-awareness and it comes from having a strategy and a plan to where you can see exactly how you can accomplish these things when you really think it through. So it's very unique what we're going to discuss right now. You may not have heard the concept of limiting beliefs spoken about in this way. So I'm excited to share it with you. And I'm going to share my screen right now and we'll get going. And I promise this webinar will be just under an hour, okay? Just letting you know that this masterclass, I'm going to teach it fast. And I'm letting you know that there's going to come a time in this presentation where I'm going to share with you an opportunity to work further with me if you're interested. Because again, you might learn something here that you want to get deeper in. And 1 hour, I'm going to do my best to teach you and give you some actionable things you can take away right now. That's why it's important you need to have a piece of paper and a pen. However, you might want more. And I'm going to let you know right now that with your permission, I'm going to give you more. So let's jump right into it now. How to leverage your superpowers to release and crush your limiting beliefs. Now, if all goes well, when I hit this button down here, it should go to the next slide. Let's see. Okay. So when we do this process, I tell people right away, I need you to start with the end in mind and think about what it is you want, like what you really, really want. Here's what I know. Many people don't want to think that hard about what they want. They would rather make a list of things they don't want in their head than actually say what they do want in their head. And why have I found that people do that? Is because if you say what you do actually want, then you have to do something about it to get it. And that can be scary for people. You might come up with the most beautiful idea in the world because you're thinking big and you're like, I'm going to create this for my life. And then you start talking yourself out of it, hence limiting beliefs, because you already start telling yourself why you don't have enough money, while you don't have the right relationship, while your weight's not the right weight, while you don't live where you need to live, while you grew up doing this. I mean, there's so many things. Like you will talk yourself out of a good idea so fast. And so I just want to encourage you, please do not do that to yourself. Okay. Do not talk yourself out of an excellent idea. Okay. But again, you have to start with admitting what you want and being comfortable with that and going, then now I'm going to come up with a plan. So I have to speak to you about that first. But now I'm going to introduce you to a concept you may not have heard of called ikigai. Why is this important? Because again, we're talking about what we want. Okay. We can't talk about your limiting beliefs until you talk about what you want. So let's talk about that. In Okinawa, Japan, there is the place in Okinawa that they say it is the only place on earth that has the highest number of people who lived over 100 years old. So in this little space in Okinawa, More people anywhere else on the planet live to over 100 years old. Why? Well, I think it might have something to do with the fact that they practice something called ikigai. And ikigai really is, if you take a look at this Venn diagram, it's telling you right here, this is what you love. This circle's all about what you love. So ask yourself, are you doing what you love? Then ask yourself, is what you're doing something the world needs? Okay, is it bringing value to the world and making it a better place? And are you getting paid for it? And then are you even good at it? Okay, so what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you are good at. In this area of this Japanese concept, if you can find your ikigai, that means you can say yes to all of these things. And right here in the center is the ikigai. But take a look and notice here, there's some gaps, right? Look at that gap right there, and that gap right there, and that gap right there, and that gap right there. You might have three of those things, but you're missing a fourth. You might have two of those things, but you're missing the other two. Okay. You might have one, but you're missing the other three. So you have to have all of them to be in the space of ikigai. And I believe that in this area where this is practiced, that's why people live so long there, is because they're happy. They found happiness, peace, and fulfillment. And they don't even really use the word retire there. There's nothing to retire from. Here in the Western world, we're always so excited about retirement. We want to stop doing what we're doing so we can live. Well, in this area, they're living every day, regardless of their age, regardless of everything. They have money. They're doing something they feel brings value to the world. They love it and they're good at it. Okay. So again, if you're coming in the chat and you identify with anything that I'm saying here, then please let me know. Let me know where you're from. Don't be afraid to type in the chat. I love and appreciate that. So, but let's talk about these gaps before we jump into the rest of the limiting beliefs part about this. Okay. So I'm guessing that the people who practice Ikigai they might have limiting beliefs as well, but I bet they don't spend a lot of time on it. Why? They have what they love. They're doing what the world needs. They're doing what they can be paid for, and they're good at it. But let's talk about the gaps, because the gaps are where the danger zone could be. Because again, you might be doing what you love and what the world needs, and you're good at it, but you have no wealth. There's a gap right there. You might have excitement and complacency, but no sense of certainty about what you're doing and the value that it truly brings, right? Or what, if you're even really good at it or not, if it really matters. Or right here, maybe you're comfortable, but you have a feeling of emptiness because you don't love it. Or maybe over here you have satisfaction, but you have uselessness because you're not doing anything that's bringing anything that's helping anyone else other than you. Maybe you have a compelled need to want to help the world, but you're not doing that. So again, I said you have to start with the end in mind. You will always hear me talk about that. Start with the end in mind. Okay. That's how you want to go through this process. And so that's why I share with you Ikigai. And if you're not familiar with it, then look it up. You can Google it, learn something about it. And if you feel like that's something you might strive to move towards, then I agree with you. I would do the same thing. And I feel like I'm much more closer to my Ikigai right now in this moment than I've ever been in my entire life. So ask yourself, are you close to your Ikigai? I don't know, but I hope you are. Okay. So who am I anyway? I'm someone who talks about Ikigai. I'm someone who talks a lot about behavioral superpowers. My company, again, is Freedom Empire Consulting, where I coach, influence, and protect. My business partners at Dream Smart Academy call me the Behavioral Superpowers Diva. So I put my nickname on there and you'll learn more about me later. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm an outgoing, fast-paced influencer. And you're going to learn what that means in a few moments. So again, like I mentioned, I talk fast, so you better listen fast. Okay. Now, one of my favorite quotes is, to know yourself, you must first sacrifice the illusion that you already do. Okay. Why is that important? Because I need you to have a growth mindset as you go into this conversation with me right now. There are some things that you already know about yourself that you feel pretty confident about. But I'm going to challenge you to ask yourself, what do you not know about yourself? What are you going to learn about yourself tomorrow? Do you really have it all figured out? Or are there some things you're still working on, right? If you're in this webinar right now, I'm guessing there's some things you're still working on. I mean, it was titled How to Leverage Your Behavioral Superpowers to Crush Your Limiting Beliefs. So my thought is that you already have a few limiting beliefs and you're wondering how to get rid of them. You probably already realize they could be holding you back, and they probably are. Okay. So we're going to speak about that as we go through this, but I love this quote because everything that I do in the realm of behavior really comes down to self-awareness, and you have to sacrifice a few things to go deep. Here's what we know in our industry as a behavioral scientist and specialist and behavioral superpowers coach. I know that behavior causes 87% of performance issues in life and business. So wherever you are in life right now, there's some issue that might be happening to where you're not where you're exactly where you want to be, and it's due to your own behavior. There are some external factors that sometimes have a play, but however, you can only control the controllables. And because you can control the controllables, you know that 87% of what you do has a factor in how you're living your life and where you are right now. It's your behavior. It's the things I'm going to talk about in a moment that make you who you are because you show up that way 91% of the time. So again, that's going to affect your overall performance in your life and in your business. And so I want to give you some strategies that can help you do that. And I'm going to tell you right now, it starts with mastering your subconscious mind so that you can turn whatever your burning desires are into gold. Okay, into gold. Because the limiting beliefs that you have, the things that you tell yourself, like, I can't do this, I don't know how to do that, that person doesn't like me, I don't like the way I look, I'm never going to be able to get that loan, I'm not going to be able to move out of this city or state that I live in. You know, these are the kinds of limiting beliefs that you have. And a belief is simply something that you tell yourself over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to where your mind believes it. Here's the challenge with that. The mind and the subconscious mind does not care if the thing that you keep telling yourself over and over again is not serving you or it's bad or negative. The subconscious mind cares not. It can't even differentiate between the good thought and the bad thought. So you have to be so meticulously careful and crafted and strategic about what it is that you have to master in your subconscious mind, or those limiting beliefs are just going to keep coming. And you're going to keep nodding your head going, yep, 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 yep. It's about the subconscious mind. It's where the limiting belief lives. And that's where you're going to have to weed it out from, is the subconscious mind. So I'm going to give you some strategies around how you can do that as we get into this. So who's this presentation for? Well, it must for you because you're here. But oftentimes it's people who come to my presentations, they're overwhelmed. They don't really know where to start or in order to achieve the success that they want in their life and their business. Or they have had some success, but maybe they're at a roadblock or a plateau. But being overwhelmed is usually the key. They're looking at the bank account. They're looking at, themselves going, why am I still here and not, why am I still here and not here? That's what they're thinking. So in that regard, they need some guidance. They need some help. They need some insight into that process. Maybe they're struggling to even figure out what their life's purpose actually is. I know that everyone wants to know why we're here. The question of who am I and why have I been put on this earth? Everyone asks that question at some point. And the answers are so varied and no one truly knows the answer. And if everyone knew exactly, then people wouldn't be seeking the answer because we would just know. Someone will be able just to tell us. Well, I have a little secret. There's some things I can tell you to help you with that answer. But most times people are looking for this answer. They want to know what it is that they're supposed to do with their days and their nights. And especially as we age, we really start asking that question. What am I going to leave? What am I going to create that's going to leave something that others can have value with, right? And then what is my burning desire? What is the thing that will, this woman is laying here on this bed who looks not very happy right now. What is the burning desire that has to come within her that will make her pop out of bed every day, full of excitement and love and life? And I mean, God, that's how I get up. Literally, like I wake up and I'm like, oh, all right, what's next? Because I know what my burning desire is. Do you jump out of bed feeling that way? I hope so. And if you don't, I hope that I can help you get there and you can find whatever you need, whether it's me or not, that can help you get there where you bounce out of bed every single morning, like fully fired up because you know exactly what your burning desire is and you have a plan. So if you're ready to embrace your behavioral self-awareness, okay, that's going to bring you confidence and achievement and help you crush those limiting beliefs, then give me a what's up in the chat and let's go. Okay, I'm ready. I hope you're ready. And remember, going into this, you have to open your mind. Remember, to know yourself, you have to first sacrifice the illusion that you already do. So open your mind, breathe, let infinite intelligence come in, Download whatever the universe has for you right now, because that's why you're here spending this time with me. And I'm excited that you are. And I want you to put in your notes. Stephanie says, "What's up? Ready 2022, right?" And so here's the thing I want you to put in your notes. No one is coming to save you. Just put that in your notes. Okay. When I tell that to people, I get all kinds of responses sometimes. And sometimes people are flat out mad about it. They're like, "What do you mean? No one's coming to save me?" Like, that sounds so just desolate and sad. And, but I believe in this and I believe in that and all these different things, especially when it comes to religion. People usually are upset when I say that. But I'm not concerned about them being upset when I say that. What I want them to hear me saying is no one is coming to save you. And if that is the case, then what are you going to do about it? Because even if you believe that there is someone or something that is going to come and save you, you still have to do something, don't you? There are still things that you and only you are responsible for. One person put it to me this way, and I love this, and I'll repeat it. They said, "Kenyatta, no one can eat your sandwich for you." And I was like, "Oh, you were right." Now they can make my sandwich. They can bring it to me on a nice, pretty plate, bring me a napkin. They could cut the crust off if I want that. They can do all these things and present me with the sandwich. They can even open my mouth and shove the sandwich in my mouth. They could do that, okay? But they can't eat the sandwich. They can't get the nutrients out of the sandwich that it would give to me and then give me that nutrients. Like, I got to eat it myself. So again, no one's coming to save me, but it doesn't mean we have to do everything alone, okay? But you have to take the ownership and the responsibility. And another thing, put this in your notes. People are always saying, well, I need to be held accountable, or I'm going to hold that person accountable. And in this book that I'm going to talk about in a minute, he always says, or no, that's in the one thing. He goes, you can hold a baby and you can hold a bag of groceries, but you can't hold anybody accountable. Okay. Accountability is ownership. Ownership of understanding that you can make choices. That is accountability. So no one's coming to save you. So if you're going to have accountability for yourself, then what choices are you going to own about what needs to happen? Right? No one can really do that for you. And also put this in your notes. She said sacrilegious, right? Yes. Also put this in your notes. No one cares more about you than you. No one cares more about you than you. Now, it's not to say that people don't care about you and love you and support you, but ask yourself, can another human being really put more care about what's happening inside of you than they should put on themselves? No, everyone should have number one as number one. Again, no one can eat my sandwich for me. I have to eat the sandwich. Okay. So I don't expect anyone else to care more about me and my sandwich than they should care about themselves and their own sandwich. I want them to get their own nourishment, their own fulfillment. I want them to walk out in the sun and let it touch their face. I'll be over here letting the sun touch mine, but I want them to care more about the sun touching their face than the sun touching my face. Okay. So again, don't take it personal. You should take that as ownership and accountability for yourself. If you realize that only you can want your dreams and goals more than, no one can want your dreams and goals more than you want them. Put it that way. Okay. And that's okay. So quick rundown of my journey. So, a little bit of who I am and why I get up here and rattle on like I do. Okay. I left my career of 20 plus years when I was 39 years old. That was almost 8 years ago. And I say dead at 39 is because my father died when he was 39 years old. I used to think that was really young because I was 16 then, and I realized that is not young. When I got to that age, I was shocked. I did not even think I would live that long. But when I got to 39, I asked myself some very hard questions that I wish I could have asked my father. And I encourage you to ask yourself those questions right now, which is, are you living your best life? Are you living a life completely fulfilled? If you want to leave a legacy for the world, what are you doing about it right now? Do you love the home that you're living in? Are you going to move to another home? What vacations are you going to take? Do you feel like you have fulfilled your destiny at this point in your life? Do you love your job that you're doing? Do you love the business that you're doing? Do you wake up every day feeling excited and awe and wonderment about the beautiful world that you have around you? Is your health where you want it to be? Is the relationship that you're in bringing you the absolute love and fulfillment that you want? Or are you lying to yourself about it? Okay, I could go on. These are the kind of questions I started wondering if my father would have been able to answer with positive affirmations by the time he was 39. But he no longer has an opportunity to make any difference or change to that situation. But here I was about to turn 39. And I said, well, Kenyatta, what are your answers to all of those questions? What are your answers to all of those questions? And I realized that some of them I didn't know the answer, others I didn't like the answer. And I said, okay, well, if that's the case, and you live past the age of 39, and you get extra minutes, days, hours, or years past what your father did, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to try to seek the answers to those questions or turn them into positive affirmations? Or are you going to stay here sitting at this desk, working at this company, working for colleges, helping other people build their empires for the last 20 something years? Or are you going to go out and build your own and find the answers to those questions? So I made a promise to myself to honor my father, that if I live 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 year beyond the age of 39, that I would find the answers to those questions or die trying. So I quit my job. I jumped off a cliff and sprouted wings because I realized I could no longer be there wondering what the world had for me out there. I wanted to build a business. I wanted to build my own empire. Now my company is called Freedom Empire because that's what I wanted. Freedom of movement, freedom of love, life, liberty, all those things. I wanted to go where I want, when I want, for as long as I want, come back when I want, be with who I want, and have plenty of money in the bank. Okay. That's what I wanted. And I needed to go find out how to do that. So ultimately, when I jumped off that cliff, I did sprout wings because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a job or a business lined up. And I found a company called Legal Shield. I'm Legal Shield for life. 6 weeks later, I ran into someone who introduced me to Legal Shield. If you don't know what that is, we offer legal services and identity theft protection for families and business owners, something every single person in this country needs and all over the world, right? There's laws that exist, but we don't know how to navigate them. Lawyers are expensive, but my clients pay, on average $25 a month to get access to them all over the country. Now, why is that important? Well, because I thought Legal Shield was my vehicle to create my freedom empire. But I realized after about 5 years of being in Legal Shield, extremely successful, and I'm still with them now, that Legal Shield was a wheel on my vehicle. And my vehicle was like an 18-wheeler. Okay. So that's where things started moving. And I started getting into personal development. Actually, Legal Shield, being in that business, that organization, introduced me to personal development in a way I'd never been introduced to it before. So I was on this massive personal development journey for several years. Then I learned the power of a mastermind by joining a group of individuals that were studying actually a book called Think and Grow Rich. And during that process, I wound up a couple years later finding out what my behavioral superpowers are. And when I did that, it was throwing gas on the fire. And I realized I knew exactly what my purpose was in life. There was no question. I didn't know the how. The how's not my business. I knew the what, though. And it's not even about the why. It's about the what. I knew what I was supposed to be doing. And so I went about the process of doing that and building a behavioral superpowers universe, which I'm still crafting it right now and forging it. And we're scratching the scratch of the surface. I'll be doing this the rest of my life. Okay. So now me and my company, we discover, uncover, and unleash behavioral superpowers. And we're building a massive, massive movement around this information. And I'm excited to share it with you now. So if you see the hashtag behavior matters anywhere, then you know that's where it came from. I made that up. Okay. So a little bit about my story and why I'm so excited and passionate about this. And when you hear me talk about the behavioral superpowers universe, this is just a snapshot of it right here. It's the platform I'm going to show you that we incorporate into all areas of business and life, careers, families, schools, coaching. I certify coaches to do what I do. I created the coaching program to do that. I use it with children. I use it with organizations like Blue Cross Blue Shield. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're a person, you have behavior. And what everybody wants to know, they want to be significant. They want to be loved. They want to feel like they bring value to the world. Everybody wants to fit in, but everyone wants to be unique. No one wants to be left out, but they want to be different, right? These are universal truths. So these universal truths fall into every single thing that we do, from finance to team performance to entrepreneurial styles, hiring dynamics. It doesn't matter. Literally, it doesn't matter. We can use it everywhere. We don't have to niche it down. There's no need for that. Instead, we're going to blow it up. We're not niching anything, okay, at all, right? We're constantly coming up with new ways to use this tool, and that's what we do. I'm the Chief Behavioral Superpowers Officer for Dream Smart Academy that you see down here, which is the only single source Black owned behavioral science firm in the world that we know of. Okay, that's what we do at Dream Smart Academy. And so you'll get to learn a little bit more about that process as we go through, because we've been doing this a long time. Our technology firm has 30 years of research and experience in behavioral science. This tool that I speak about is validated in 125 countries. It's in 11 different languages and shows a 91% predictability over the long term. That what the data that comes from the exercise that you may have an opportunity to take, and some of you may have already taken it, it's 91% predictable over the long term. Okay. There's no questions. There's no wiggle room other than 9%. And I say that 9%, I'll give you that it's not right. Okay. That's your wiggle room right there. 9%. Okay. That's not accurate, but that really just comes from your learned behavior and how you choose to show up in the moment. So we help people understand themselves from the inside out, and we train others to do the same. And you'll hear me use the words behavioral superpowers and kryptonite back and forth. Okay. Because they are two sides of a coin. When you get this information, we like to say, know who you are, be who you are, so you can do what you are. We measure all of these things seen here. They're your fingerprints. They're what makes you unique. Your financial temperament, your life experiences, expectations, your communication style, passions, environments, the way you were raised, all that ties into your fingerprints. And we measure that from really the age of 3. We're able to identify what all your behavioral fingerprints have culminated into at this point in your life through this process. It's 500 data points. It's insane the amount of data that comes out of this one 15-minute exercise that you can take. That process looks like this: a discovery exercise that you can take online. Again, some of you have already taken it. Some of you are probably curious about it now. Then we do uncovering coaching sessions. That's where I basically coach, teach, and train you about how to unleash your behavioral superpowers upon the world. That's a process. The unleashing doesn't happen overnight. That's something that comes with you doing self-coaching and using this information and being aware in the moment of what's happening in your life and how you're going to show up, and then choosing to flex your behavior or not to be your best self and do the best thing for the situation in that moment. Okay, that's a process. So discover, uncover, and unleash is the easy way to describe the framework for what we do. So let's dig into it. Let's start with the behavioral superpowers themselves. We call these actually behavioral identities. There are 10 of them. I have the influencer one big because that's mine. Okay. But of the 10 behavioral styles, I'm going to do in a moment, I'm going to pull up a screen that I'll do a little run through really quickly of what each of the identities can encompass, which is going to be key because you may know which one you are, but you also maybe not know, and you may be wondering, which one am I, right? So I want you to guess which one you are if you're not sure. And the one thing about these names, I love them. They're so easy to understand. I mean, you know what an adapter is without me telling you what it is. You can probably guess what a communicator or a community builder does. You can probably guess what an engager might do, or a facilitator, or an influencer, initiator, reflective thinker, relationship builder, strategist, stylish thinker. I love how these are named because they're so easy to understand, and they're absolutely accurate as far as what the name means is probably exactly what the name means is probably what you think it means. Okay. So I love that. So this is an example of the report that you might get. Okay. When you take the exercise, this work talent report is the first report that shoots out. And like I said, I'm going to dig into the other 10 in a moment. But why I want to show you this is that you can get a sense of at least what kind of data comes from this. I mean, you've been listening to me for 30 minutes now, and you could probably guess that I'm outgoing and fast paced. I already told you that earlier, but this is where I get that information from right there. Outgoing and fast paced. I'm someone who enjoys new ideas, expresses views. I use a networking approach. I'm objective, results oriented or driven, and very rational. And I'm not patient. That's not my strong suit. Fast pace is the opposite of patience. Okay. But as influencers, it says right there, influencers usually like to take all opportunities for being in front of people and being at the center of decision making. They are able to engage and motivate people into action through their powerful verbal talents and overall level of enthusiasm. They will wholeheartedly invest time and effort into developing others and their personal performance towards goals, particularly strategies that they see significant potential in. That has been me for as long as I can remember. I was doing that with my friends in elementary school. I had no idea that's what I was doing, but that's what I was doing. This helped me understand that. And my mother is also an influencer. So I know from her perspective that this is correct as well, because I've known her my whole life. Right. So that paragraph is the same on all the influencers pages. But then when we get into the fingerprints, like I mentioned, my mom is a take charge, fast paced influencer. I'm outgoing, fast paced. Now there's 8 different factors, and these are just our highest scores, but you can already see that the differences are. So think about your limiting beliefs for a moment. Do you believe that with a deep level of self-awareness and understanding of yourself, that that could improve your overall perception of yourself, of who you are and what you're actually capable of? Oftentimes, limiting beliefs take the place of certainty and positivity. If there's no certainty and positivity, then limiting beliefs can easily slide in and jack up your thinking. Okay. So I know that if I can share this information with people and help teach them who they are at their core, because I believe what this report says, it's easy for me to believe it because I know it. It's not a question. It just put it in context, put it on paper, put it in writing, give me quantitative and qualitative data objectively about who I am, but why I am. That's just as important as who, is understanding the why. Okay. So if you think about it in terms of the why, then now I can go, oh, that's why I've always done that. Or that's why I've always done that. Okay. Now that I see that, okay, now how can I own that and harness that and use it to my advantage versus letting it be my kryptonite? So as you see here, when people are connecting with me, it says that remember my need for fun and excitement. Invest time in building a relationship. Tell me who's involved. Anticipate my immediate fixes and quick responses, and speak and move at a quick pace. This is what I need from other people. So if other people aren't giving me that, I might be a little miffed about that, right? And I might have to flex my behavior, or they might not understand why I speak and move so quickly, why I come up with ideas so quickly, why it doesn't take me long to make up my mind about anything. I'm very instinctive and spontaneous. So people sometimes take that personal. And again, if they do that, then I can put a limiting belief on me, because people are always like, Kenyatta, why do you always do that? Or why do you always do that? If people say that to you, then now you have to process that and wonder, God, is something wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. It's not personal. It's just science. Nothing's wrong with you. It just may be different than the person you're having a conversation with. And nothing's wrong with them. This information teaches you to have a deep level of self-awareness so that you can have self-love. And I believe that it's very difficult for hatred to live in the same heart as self-love. If you have an understanding of yourself and some sort of awareness, and I call it empathetic energy that you can put toward other people, then you can manage the differences. You can celebrate the differences, navigate the differences, but you got to start with you first. That's why I spend a lot of time here, because it's really important. So as you take a look and you see these other things that it's saying about me, the 93 on results where it's green and the biggest part of the circle is green, that's a really high score out of 100. Okay. So I'm extremely results focused. I'm extremely daring. I'm extremely abstract and creative. I'm extremely flexible and spontaneous. And I'm extremely promoting, which is outgoing. Right. So that's who I am. If you have scores between in the 50 to 70, that's balance. As you see, none of my scores are less than 82. There's no balance. I'm either in or I'm out. That means it's really hard for me to flex and see the other side of that coin, and oftentimes hard to understand people who are on the side of that. So I have to work very diligently to flex to meet others where they're at, because my scores are so intensified. Now, again, that helps me understand who I am, and I don't have to put any limiting beliefs around that. I know. So instead, I work on unleashing that power that I have and being aware of my kryptonite at the same time. So this slide right here talks about the other 10 behavioral superpowers. So I want you to look right here for a minute. So you see there's all 10. You see the influencers right there at the top. I know Stephanie's on here. She's a facilitator. She's right here. So is my sister. And as you take a look at this real quick, I'm going to do a real quick rundown on them. Okay. Influencer, I already told you about influencer. Engagers, they engage. They have a wide circle of friends and networks. They love people. They have excellent communication skills, and they're fast paced, and they're always excited and want to party. Okay. Quick and dirty, right? Community builder. They are the ones who literally build community. They want consensus. They want everyone to come together. They care. They work with sympathy and supportiveness. They love typically supportive roles where they can help create collaboration and camaraderie amongst people. That's what they're built for. Relationship builders, they're always sweethearts. Everyone I've ever met, they're as sweet as pie. They're nice, they're kind, they're empathetic. They definitely want to work in supportive roles. They're patient. They're good listeners. You know, Della says a community builder sounds like you. Okay, Della. All right. The relationship builders, they want everyone to feel good and they work on building patiently those relationships. A facilitator like Stephanie, they have a magical way of making sure that people are taken care of at the same time that the job is getting done. They can see a situation and task and how things need to be laid out. They appreciate stability. They want to know the rules. They want to know the how that's expected. They can be creative as well in that, but they really like the structure. They want to know this. They appreciate stability as well. And so they have an uncanny way of managing people and getting the job done. Now, the adapters like the chameleon. They're the ones that literally can absorb all of these superpowers. And whoever they're spending the most time with, they're going to start emulating those powers, which is great because they can fit in wherever they need to, like a chameleon, right? They adapt. Literally, all their scores are fairly balanced. Then we have the stylish thinker. I quite honestly think, actually, I'm going to save the stylish thinker for last. Then we have the reflective thinker. The reflective thinker is the analyst, the data person, perfection. They want that. They're going to take their time. Do not try to rush them in making a decision. They will not like it. That will pull them out of their comfort zone. Now, granted, you may have to push them sometimes, but be prepared, okay, that they are going to really, really dig their heels in because they need the time to think about it. And they're thinking about things years and months in advance because they like to have a plan. Okay. And they're going to do their research. So give them the research because they're going to want it anyway. A strategist is exactly as you might think. They are impartial. They are goal-driven, extremely ambitious. They're very methodical about how they go and do things. They will have a strategy all laid out in advance. Okay. And I love working with them because you know what? They pay attention to all the stuff that I don't want to deal with. Okay. I love it. Then we've got the initiator. They're like the spark. They're the ones who will show up and be like, okay, everyone, here's what we're going to do. You're going to do that. You're going to do that. Here's the agenda. Here's how I want it done. Here's this, here's that. And we might even not have all the resources, but you guys will figure it out. That's the initiator. They're fun to have on your team. I've got 3 of them on my Dream Smart Academy team. But again, they got to be pulled back and told, hey, whoa. Okay. They like to come and do all that and then bounce and they're off to spark something else. Okay. So a lot of times they have to be reeled in and slowed down and think about the people factor. They're not usually all interested in that. They just want the results. Okay. So that's the initiator. I told you about the influencer. And then the stylish thinker, I quite honestly believe is a combination of an engager and a reflective thinker because they are very outgoing and people focused and super excited about everything. And they love to engage people. But then I could be at a party and pull out a report and be like, hey, I know we're at this party, but we're looking at this report right now. We need to analyze this data. And they're really particular about things as well. They want things all lined up. They're kind of like a little bit of the perfectionist, like the reflective thinker is. Okay. That's why it's a very interesting profile, the stylish thinker, because they're like, I just made me think of a mullet. I don't know if you ever know what a mullet is, but it's like business in the front, party in the back. I think that's kind of like a stylish thinker. I just now thought of that and I'm going to have to use that again to describe the stylish thinker. Actually, Kenyatta, that was good. So that's a quick rundown of the 10 behavioral styles. Now, what you see here in these corners where it says fast paced, those profiles are typically fast paced. The ones on the bottom move a little more carefully. The ones on the right, relationship focused. The ones on the left, focused on results. Typically, okay? After 30 years of research, this is what the data shows. But then in the corners, you see spender, lifestyle, cautious, stability, saver, information, risk-taking, goal setting. Well, the second word has to do with their communication style, which is over here. Goal setting, lifestyle, stability, information. These right here are not only how people communicate, but it's how they want to be communicated to, and it's also their learning style. This isn't a class about that, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time there, but I have it here to show you, just to give you a sense of all the data that comes out of that exercise that we use in the universe. Okay. We literally use it in so many applications. And also the risk-taking, spender, cautious, and saver typically has to do with your financial temperament. And we're the only psychometric assessment out there. You can put us right up next to Myers-Briggs, Colby, Enneagram, DISC, Strength Finders, Predictive Index, Human Design, all of them. We're right up there with them, but we're the only one that also measures finance. None of the others do. Okay. You don't, in my opinion, you don't even need those other ones because we do things they don't do at levels that they can imagine. And we also measure what doesn't change while they measure what changes, which makes it really hard to coach and teach to something that's changing all the time, right? We measure what doesn't change, which is why you can build this into the culture of your family or your organization. So now I'm going to dig quickly into these factors here before we move forward. And then I'm going to give you some very specific 6 steps that I want you to think about. And then I'm going to show you the program that I have that you may be interested in after that. So even though me and my mother are both influencers, we're different types of influencers because we have what we call this 8-factor spectrum. And in here, we measure someone's command factor: people, patience, structure, trust. And then there's 3 others I'll show you in a moment. And depending on what your scores are, you may be like me, who's very take charge. I'm very outgoing. Fast paced is my second highest score. Spontaneous is my third highest score. And I'm kind of right here on skeptical versus trusting. I'm a little more skeptical than trusting. Okay. Now imagine if you knew this data about yourself. You would explain so much about why you move the way you do, but also why you may have conflict with other people, why you believe certain things that you're capable of, and why you have limiting beliefs about other things. This would answer a lot of those questions for you. That's why I'm showing it to you now. Okay. So this is a whole nother deep conversation, but this is a high level about how we measure and what we measure and why it affects how you think about yourself. It's all in here. It's all in here. Okay. I can tell you that it is all in here. And it's here too. The first 5 factors I talk about, the command, people, trust, structure, and patience, have a lot to do with how you deal with relationships and people. These 3 factors have a lot to do with how you make career and business decisions, whether you set ambitious goals and how you go about accomplishing them. Okay. And we have the pioneer factor, the risk factor, and the creativity factor. These are your natural ways of thinking about these things. Okay. And as you see, 2 sides of a coin. Are you more pioneering or are you more content and balanced? Are you more cautious or are you a risk taker? Are you creative or are you anchored? All of this ties into who you are and why you do what you do. If you are in a place in your business right now that you don't think you should be, and you're wondering why you're struggling and why you're stuck, why you set goals that you don't tend to follow through with, or why you tend to not want to burn the bridge and, go for the next highest pinnacle and be competitive and driven and, just wild. Well, it might be because you're literally more content. You much more appreciate balance and harmony versus burning all the bridges. You want growth in your business, but you're not willing to do what someone who's pioneering is willing to do. But you may be being told you should be doing those things because whoever else is coaching you doesn't know this about you. Think about this. This is what I do. I know this about my team or who I'm working with before I ever try to coach them on anything. I need to know these scores because this is how I can tell you what's going on with your business and your life. Okay. This is what I do. Okay. So again, if you're always wondering why you find yourself in trouble all the time, it might be because you have an extremely high risk taking score, or why you're so cautious and you won't take a chance. You won't go for that opportunity. You're always looking for, how do we do this and not have any risk? Well, as an entrepreneur, you got to take some. Okay. So we got to figure out where you're at, the baseline, so we know what we're dealing with, because these are the things that you're telling yourself you can't do or won't do, and you don't know why. I'm here to tell you why. And the same thing with creativity. I know Stephanie's on here, and that's one of her highest scores. She likes to write creative with a K. She wants to change it up. I'm extremely creative as well. You saw my score in abstract. I'm always thinking up new things. I'm not tied to old ways. I don't care what the old way was. I'm not going to waste my time even thinking about it. I'm going to come up with something new, right? So I didn't mean to click that button, but that's what's going on with those 8 factors. That's why you need to take this exercise and get coached through this so that you can understand this about yourself, because it's the first step in removing your limiting belief. So I'm going to sprinkle in a couple testimonies in here as we get through the rest of this and wrap up, because I want you to see that I'm just not making this up, that there are other people, strategists like Rochelle Polton, who figured out their behavioral superpower styles and have used it to expand their lives. Rochelle had one law firm. She came through my 12-week program. She's got 3 law firms now, right? When she realized that she was a hardcore, anchored, planned, highly results-focused strategist and saw it on paper, she's like, oh my gosh, it explains so much about why I've had my business the way I've had, and why I work with my team the way I work with my team. It freed her, literally freed her, right? I love what I do because it's just phenomenal to me. So now get a pen and piece of paper if you hadn't already, because I'm going to talk about your burning desire and how it's a starting point for all your achievement. This is how you reprogram your mind to stop thinking about the things that aren't serving you. This is how you crush your limiting beliefs. You need to reprogram your subconscious mind. And I'm going to give you some tips that come straight from Napoleon Hill. Love Napoleon Hill. Okay. He says there is one quality which one must absolutely possess to win, and that is the definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one truly wants, and the burning desire to possess it. This is the beginning of you crushing your limiting beliefs. You have to know what you want and have a definiteness of purpose. If you have that, you won't allow the limiting beliefs. They just won't have room in your head. There's no room after you go through what I'm about to show you right now. So, step one, go ahead and screenshot this. Okay. Step one, you need to be definite about the exact money or impact you want to make or have and the change you want to see. That is your burning desire. You have to be definite about it. How much money or how much impact you want to make. What is the change that you want to see? Those things have to be defined. You need clarity on those. Okay. And I love this quote by Maya Angelou. She says, ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. Okay. That is step one. Step two, you have to decide and commit to what you're willing to do in exchange for the achieving of your burning desire. So you got to know what it is, and then you have to decide and commit to what has to happen. What are you going to sacrifice? What are you going to give? You can't get something for nothing. What are you going to give to get it? Is it money? Do you need to invest in yourself? Do you need to learn a skill? Do you need to go volunteer? I don't know. Do you need to give someone your time or whatever? You have to figure that out. You have to, okay? Because the burning desire is not going to come unless you give something to get it. So it says here, and man McNeil, decide today to be everything you've been created to be and everything you deserve. Success is in your hands. Knowing your behavioral superpower is what you've been created to be. That already is you. How are you going to use it to get what you want? That's on you, not me. That's on you. So the next thing here is, a little testimony from Maricel Gritzmacher. She's been in my 12-week program, the one I'm going to offer you in a moment. 5 times she's come through it. And she is an engager. Like I told you, the life of the party. That is Maricel. You can call her right now and be like, Maricel, is there a party going on somewhere? She's going to say yes. Because that is her, right? She says, she recommended to anyone, any part of their business, right? She says, who thinks they know it all. She's like, you can teach an old dog new tricks, right? And so she definitely, and she's actually coming back to the next one. So then number 3, what is the definite and exact date that you want to complete it? When do you want the money? When do you want the impact? When do you want to see the change? You've got to come up with like when that happens. Napoleon Hill is very clear about that. You have to tell, because again, what you're doing is you're planting things in your subconscious mind at this point. The first step in his 13 principles are desire. The next one is faith. You have to believe that it's going to happen, right? So this is part of it. Coming up with this is part of it. What do I want? What am I willing to do to get it? And by when do I want it? Okay. Planning ahead is a measure of class. The rich and even the middle class plan for future generations, but the poor can plan only ahead a few weeks or a days. Gloria Steinem says that. So ask yourself, how far ahead are you planning? When do you want these things that you say are so important to you? Right? And why is it going back that way? What just happened? Hold on. I think I was tapping the button before I needed to. Oops. I totally went too far. Okay, back here. I was moving the mouse around too much. I got to stop. So then Tiffany Teehee says, I think what I appreciated most so far was permission to focus on doing a few things rather well than trying to conquer everything at once. How often do we do that? That limiting belief stem from that as well. We're trying to do too much and we can't. So we're like, I can't, I'm done. I'm overwhelmed. I can't figure this out when you can figure it out. Right. So she was having a little bit of that going on. Right. But then realized that she can calibrate her goals over the 12 weeks to get where she wants in the long term. Right. And she did that through our group meetings. She's an HR and she is an adapter. Then step 4, craft a definite plan of action and then begin immediately. Stop thinking about it. Stop getting ready to get ready. Anybody here been getting ready to get ready? Okay. You can't do that. Once you come up with a definite plan of action, put it into place. You don't even know all the hows yet. It's not your business. But what you do have figured out, you have to put in place and not procrastinate on it, right? The more clear we become about what we want to accomplish, it says the people we want to attach our life and the life we want to live, the easier it can become. Della says, yes, I do a lot of marinating on things. Yes, Della, stop marinating. All right. Now it's good to think about it, right? You need to think about your thinking. You have to do all these steps. But once you know the answer, Della, execute. Just trust yourself. Just do it and see what happens. Right? It says, Maria Simone, the more clear you become about what you want to accomplish and the people you want to attach to the life you want to live, the easier it comes to make the decision and move forward. But you got to have the clarity first. You got to do step one first to really know what it is you truly want. If you don't know that, then of course you would waver on what to do and why you should do it because you're not really sure. Right? So there's that. Now, this is Sandra. She's a reflective thinker. She marinates a lot as well. Della. Sometimes I had to snap her out of it. Sandra, come on. Because reflective thinkers, that's what they do. Okay. So she even said before she thought it, she said she realized that people develop skills in their area of interest, but she said she wanted to know what she was missing. Sandra was 72 when she started my mastermind. She's been in it maybe 3 times. So, I think she's 74 now. And she's like, look, Kenyatta, I'm in my 70s. You think I have all this figured out yet? But clearly I don't. She's like, I still want more. I still want to learn and grow. Right? So she said, what am I missing? And she realized that you can have anything you want by putting it in your subconscious mind. That's what she learned. 70 years old. She did not know and understand how to do that. Now she does. Now she's training and mentoring and blowing my mind, the growth and development that Sandra had after a few sessions in my behavioral mastermind. Phenomenal to me. And step 5, write your personal statement of desire that describes the income or impact. You got to write it out. Okay. So now you've done these things. Now you got to write it out, put the by when, put the action steps that you're going to use to accomplish it. It says you may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. Right? Meaning if your plan doesn't work and the action steps don't work, you might have to go back and reevaluate your plan. But if you don't write out that statement, then it's going to be difficult for you to start pushing it into your subconscious mind, which is the 6th step. Reading it twice a day, morning and night. Read it. Believe it. Feel it. All the time you spend planning limiting beliefs in your brain, what if you spent time planning this affirmation in your brain of your statement of desire about what you're going to do and what's it going to take to get it and by when do you want it and exactly what the plan is? What if you spent your time putting that into your brain to where you believed it? Now it's not a limiting belief, it's a limitless belief. Okay? Think about that for a minute. So when you can see it before your eyes and touch it with your hands. Peace Pilgrim says, constantly through thought, you are creating your inner conditions and helping to create the conditions around you. That's why you have limiting beliefs, because you are doing it. So we got to just change what you're telling yourself all the time. That's why you read my statement's right over here. I read it twice a day. I've been doing that since April 2018, and I rewrite it every 12 weeks. Because things change and I've grown and there's new things I have learned and that I need to add to it. Right? But I have the framework done. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Again, I told you I have complete clarity on that. The how doesn't always show up to me, but when it does, I'm ready for it. Right? So Suki Jeffries is one of my star students. I love her. She's amazing. She's been in my mastermind probably the longest. I think her 7th time. I'm about to run it for my 9th, and she's been in 7 of them. She created her Courage Rises business. She left this company that she was in that was not serving her. She now hosts a networking meeting. She's now a published author, speaker. She's now certified as a behavioral superpowers coach. I've just watched her arc bloom and blossom in the last almost 3 years. And it's been phenomenal to watch what has happened with this woman who was in her 60s, who was a project manager for corporate for years and now retired and thought she knew what she wanted to do and realized that she wasn't fulfilled, but she didn't know her behavioral superpowers. Her behavioral superpowers unveiled exactly what she should be doing. And so I help coach her realize you are a take charge, spontaneous influencer. And what you're doing right now is not allowing you to walk in your greatness. It's a behavioral mismatch. I don't want that for you. Okay. So these examples of these women, and not just women who found this, is huge. But here's the thing. Here's what I know. You will not follow these 6 steps. You won't do it. That's a lot of work that I just said. Most people do not do it. Napoleon Hill says 98% of the world are drifters. 98% of the world are drifters, meaning they have not found their burning desire. They have not found their definiteness of purpose. They have not decided what they're going to give to get it. They have not written it down. They do not know by when they want it. They do not have a statement of desire. They do not read it twice a day. Therefore, they're doing what I call whistling past the graveyard with no plan or purpose or vision. But 2% of the world are non-drifters, and they do all the things I just mentioned. I'm in the 2%. You might be as well because you're even here. Okay. So, but most people will not follow these 6 steps unless they learn to open their mind to the concept of mastering their subconscious mind, unless they start modeling the patterns of successful people who do the things that I just shared with you, unless they identify what the major attributes of true leadership is, because you have to lead yourself as well as others in the pursuit of your goals and dreams, unless they understand what 31 causes of failure are that Napoleon Hill absolutely outlines, and they embrace the importance of persistence. And of course, they have to discover their behavioral superpowers, because that is the framework for all of it. That's literally number 1. However, here's Jackie, another one of the clients who's also another reflective thinker who enjoyed the program as well, and has transformed herself. But here's the thing. Simon Sinek says, start with why. It's a great book that he wrote, but I will tell Simon Sinek if I ever meet him in person, it's not about why, Simon. It's about what. Because if you know the what, then it makes sense to have an understanding of the why. But there's no why, in my opinion, without a what. You got to know what you want. Then you know why you want it. If there's no what, then there's no why in my mind, right? So I need you to understand what. That means that's the clarity of what it is that you need to do. And I ask you, if you're prepared to do the hard, solid thinking and deep self-reflection required to get what you want, then what I'm about to offer you may make sense. Okay, here we are, the moment we have been waiting for. I have a special invitation for you. And if you've been watching this long, thank you so much. And I hope you give me permission to share with you what it is I want to offer you so that you can take all this information you've learned in this webinar and take it literally to the next level. And I'm going to share with you right now my Behavioral Mastermind series. It is my signature program. It's phenomenal. I mean, I've ran it so many times. I have people who come through this program again and again and again and again. That's why it's a series. It's phenomenal. And if you want more information right away, you just want to know about it, don't want to listen to anything I have to say, then you can just go to www.behavioralmastermindseries.com and get all the info. And you might be thinking even right now, I don't even know about this program, but you might be wondering, is it going to work for me? Right? Maybe you've tried things in the past and maybe they haven't worked. Maybe you've tried some things that did work. But now if you're listening to me, I'm guessing you're probably ready for another level of success. And to answer your question, is it for you? Well, of course it is. Absolutely, especially if you put in the work and you take it seriously and you do the things that we're asking you to do in this process. But ultimately, you have to have the right mindset to do that. And if you have the right mindset to even go forward, then that means you are ready for the next step. You want to learn more. You want to find out if this could work for you. And I absolutely believe that it can for you, as it has for many others before you. You're also probably thinking if there is an investment in the Behavioral Mastermind series. And I can tell you absolutely there is. But I want you to think about how you want to invest. And I encourage you to invest at the level at which you want to see results. I repeat, invest at the level in which you want to see results. Okay. And I'm going to tell you what's in the program. Right now, I'm going to let you know what you're going to get. So go ahead and, buckle in, because it's a ton of stuff that you're going to get in this Behavioral Mastermind Series program. So it is a live 12-week virtual coaching program. You're going to get access to Behavioral Superpower Discovery Exercise. You're going to get access to 3 individualized Behavioral Superpower reports, a work talent, a workplace operations, and a hiring performance. And let me tell you, when you take this exercise, it is a 46-question exercise. It's going to measure 575 different data points, and there's tons of reports. But with this Behavioral Mastermind series, I'm going to give you 3, and we're going to coach you through them over the course of the 12 weeks. Okay, so 12-week program and all the behavioral assessments that you need for this program. It's also going to include 9 60-minute group coaching sessions, and which is phenomenal with everyone else, because none of us is as smart as all of us, right? But you are going to get a 30-minute one-on-one uncovering with me, where I will help make sure you understand your behavioral superpower exercise. I'll do an uncovering with you and talk about what your goals are going to be for the 12 weeks. You're going to get access to a high performance indicator assessment at a certain point in the program as well. Then we're going to talk through that and give you an opportunity to set your baseline for your high performance processes and habits, then you're going to get 3 15-minute one-on-one coaching sessions with me throughout the 12 weeks as well. This is powerful, so I can check in with you, help make sure you're on track, answer any questions you have, and be able to make sure that you're getting the behavioral alignment that is necessary through this process. You're going to get the opportunity to read and implement 2 books, The 12-Week Year and The High Performance Habits. These books are full of so much knowledge, and I'm going to tell you very clearly right now, it's one thing to read a book, an entirely different thing to do a book, especially in a group format like we do this. Now, this is not a book club. I can tell you right now, it is not that at all. So please do not think this is a book club, because it ain't that, okay? Now, here's the thing. Wherever you are in life right now, there's probably some old habits that you've established. And you probably wouldn't be here listening to me right now if there wasn't some of those old habits you wanted to break. You're looking for the next level. You're looking for advancement. You can't get that without changing your mindset. So please remember that it's all about having this growth mindset about how you think about things, how you do things, and where you invest your time. So again, the Behavioral Mastermind Series, you can get more information and register at www.behavioralmastermindseries.com and go ahead and get started. However, there's more, because I want to give you an opportunity to get more value out of this program by offering you what we like to call fast action bonuses. So why is that? Because you know what? We want people who are going to make decisions, going to make things happen, who are sick and tired of being sick and tired and are ready to rock and roll. So if you sign up for this program within the next 48 hours, then you're going to get access to 2 fast action bonuses. The first one is a 60-minute behavioral relationship enhancement uncovering coaching session. So what does all that mean? Well, here it is. It's worth $750, and you're going to take the exercise yourself. You've already done it, but now you're going to have access for someone else to take the behavioral exercise. And then I'm going to build you a 19-page report. It's going to take both of those exercises, put them together, and give you an opportunity to really see how you relate to the other person from a behavioral standpoint. Now, you can use this with a family member, a business partner, friend, spouse, or significant other, whoever it is that you want, as long as they're 12 years of age and up, then they can take this exercise. This is a powerful relationship enhancement tool. Even if you already have a good relationship with this person, this is going to take it to the next level, okay? When you really understand who they are and why they are, and they understand who you are and why you are, it really helps improve communication and understanding overall. So that's worth $750 right there. 60-minute uncovering coaching session with the relationship enhancement tool. The next one is access to a 5-week sales communication accelerator. This is one of my signature online courses that is video or translated to you through video. It's worth $697, and it's only 5 weeks long, and you can go at your own pace. This is going to give you an opportunity to take our communication superpower exercise, and it's going to walk you through the 4 quadrants of communications and from a sales perspective. Now, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, you already know you also are your own salesperson. But even if you aren't, you also know that sales is part of life. Conveying your message, translating it to someone else so that you can help them understand what it is you're talking about, that's sales, okay? So this is going to be powerful for helping you understand your sales communication style, how other people love to learn and buy, and how you can make sure you're mirroring that when you're helping them. So that is powerful. Another fast action bonus that I'm throwing in. Now, listen, if I just gave you the relationship enhancement tool, remember that was $750, okay? But I also gave you the sales communication accelerator. So the total is $1,497 worth of bonuses. So $1,447 worth of bonuses are going to get thrown in for you when you sign up for the Behavioral Mastermind Series. So as a reminder, what's included in the Behavioral Mastermind Series? Well, go to www.behavioralmastermindseries.com to get all the details. But as a reminder, it is a 12-week virtual coaching program. You get access to the Behavioral to Superpower Discovery Exercise, 3 reports you're going to get access to and get coached through, as well as 9 60-minute group coaching sessions, 1 30-minute one-on-one uncovering with me, the high performance indicator assessment, but 3 15-minute one-on-one coaching sessions. And then, of course, the opportunity to read and implement the 2 books, the 12-week year and the high performance habits. So what does this all cost? Well, the fee and the investment really is only $2,795 to join the 12-week behavioral series program. That is one pay. So one payment of $27.95, or if you happen to need access to a payment plan, I do have one. You can make 3 payments of $1,000 and get into the series. And with both of those plans, you will get access to the fast action bonus if you enroll before or fill out your application before in the next 24 hours, because you do have to apply for this mastermind series. Now, at this point, you really have two choices. Very simple, right? You can either work with an expert like me. I've given you my background. You know, I'm a behavioral superpowers coach, trainer, mentor. I've architected this tool. I use it in all my programs. I accredit other coaches to use it with theirs. This is powerful. You can work with me, or you can try to figure it out on your own. Now, you've already probably been working to do this on your own, which is why you're here with me, because you're thinking about other ways to improve your situation. So two choices: expert or figure it out. One of them's the easy way, one of them's the hard way, and you may have already been dealing with the hard way and are maybe now looking for an easier way. It's not always easy, but easier than the hard way. That's really what we want to talk about. So if you are interested, go to www.behavioralmastermindseries.com. The investment is $27.95, or you can do the 3-pay option of $1,000, 3 payments for $1,000. Do that within the next 48 hours. You're going to get $14.97 in bonuses, which is $1,447 in bonuses. And think about this. If the Behavioral Mastermind Series even gave you the confidence and the roadmap to achieve your burning desire, would it be worth it? The confidence and the roadmap to achieve what your burning desire is, would it be worth it? Would it be worth $27.95 for you to be able to do that? I cannot answer that question for you, but I'll give you another testimony of someone else who's been in my class. She says that before she joined the class, she was seeking a new purpose in life. Her world had become a lot about others and not so much about herself, being a wife and a mother. She says, learning my behavioral superpowers really changed the way I look at the world. Having the ability to know who I am or how I'm going to show up naturally allows me to play to my strengths and work on my weaknesses in a loving way. Now I understand how to utilize my superpower, she's a facilitator, to accomplish more of my goals in life as well as personal relationships. Now, I get emotional when I read this post because this is my sister. This testimony is from my big sister. It's interesting having a family member in your coaching programs, but it's even more interesting watching how they grow and blossom through that process, not just through my relationship in coaching, but because it is a mastermind and so many other people are involved and in this process, that it's so powerful. And I just love testimonies like this, and especially love testimonies like this from someone in my family who is near and dear to my heart. And, as we wrap up here, you've got all the information you need, but I want to remind you the 12-week year, this is a quote from that book: the more personally compelling your vision is, the more likely it is that you will act upon it. Take time to really write out a compelling vision. Do not skimp on this part, because if you do, you're not going to go through the brick wall to accomplish it. It's not going to be that important to you, okay? And from the High Performance Habits book, Brendan talks about creating a high-performance life in which you experience an ongoing feeling of engagement, joy, and confidence that comes from being your best self. This is the life that I live, and I want the same for you. You can have that if you start going through this process and make this what we teach a part of your life. And this last quote is from me. It is, your self-fulfilling prophecy will either limit you or liberate you. Why is that important? Is because if you make a decision that your life is going to be filled with the things that are your dreams, then if that becomes true, that becomes your self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you tell yourself that you can't have those things, you can't have a better job, you can't buy a new car, you can't have the life you want, you can't build that business or make gazillion dollars, well, when it doesn't happen, then you will have fulfilled that prophecy. So the question is your self-fulfilling prophecy that you tell yourself, what are you prophesizing? Is it going to limit you or liberate you? I can't answer that question, but I encourage you to ask yourself what that means. So lastly, again, go to behavioralmastermindseries.com. Find out the information that you need. Go ahead and do your application and get registered for this program, because we'll be starting in just a couple of weeks and we don't want to leave you out. My name is Kenyatta Turner. I'm an outgoing, fast-paced influencer, CEO and founder of Freedom Empire Consulting, where we coach, influence, and protect. And my final thoughts and musings are, I know that how you do anything behaviorally is how you do everything. So whether or not you join this mastermind, you can't get away from the fact that you have a certain behavioral style and that 87% of performance issues in life and business are due to your behavior. So I encourage you to find out what your behavioral tendencies are. What is that objective information that you need to know so you can stop having your behavior stop you from your goals? The Behavioral Mastermind is the way to do that. I'm so excited that you watched all the way to the end. Thank you so much. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, but click on the link. Everything is there. Go to www.behavioralmastermindseries.com, get registered, and remember, #Behavior Matters. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Talk to you later. Bye.